Hey, I want to make a little video today regarding something a lot of people have been asking me about, and a lot of people have been talking about on the internet, even in mainstream media. It's about the recent defections from the NRA. It seems like every time you turn around, the NRA loses another high-ranking executive or board members or something. And people have been asking me, since I've been anti-NRA for a long time now, I was sounding the alarm on them way before a lot of people wanted to listen. They're asking me, what do I think of these people leaving the NRA? Do I think that's good for the NRA? Do I think that's good for the Second Amendment? And what do I think of them as people? Well, I'll try to cover all of that here, but I'm not going to do it individually. I'm just going to look at the whole overall thing and see how I think it's playing out. Now, the people that are leaving, the people that have quit the board, the people that are resigning positions, etc. As far as that being good for the NRA, it is not in any way, because you have to look at it that these people are either one of two things. They're either patriots, true Second Amendment believers, that have become so disenfranchised with the NRA and have realized after years and years and years that change from within is impossible and they've given up, or they're rats leaving a sinking ship, meaning the ship is sinking. So that's not good for the NRA in any way. As far as being good for the Second Amendment, this is in no way good for the Second Amendment. This is one of the worst things that could happen to the Second Amendment fight. But it's not the fault of the people that point out what was wrong. It's the fault of the people who did the wrong things, meaning LaPierre, the NRA, Ackerman McQueen, and all their disciples. So it's their fault, but it is bad for the Second Amendment fight. It's unavoidable, unfortunately, because we let it go too long. But, like I say, not a good thing for the NRA, definitely, and not a good thing for the Second Amendment. Now, as far as these people themselves, what do I think of them? Are they patriots or are they rats leaving a sinking ship? I'm sure it varies from person to person. Some people really have just said, screw it, we're not going to be able to save this. People like LaPierre and Ackerman McQueen, they all had their hooks too deep. This animal is too wounded. We're going to have to start again, so I'm quitting. That's valiant. I mean, that's people standing up for what they believe. It's sad, like I say, that they find that there's no change they can make, but that's just the way things are. Now, as for these people themselves, I welcome every one of them to become a strong Second Amendment advocate. Not a gun advocate. Not to sell Field and Stream copies, but a true Second Amendment advocate. Now, do I think they all will? No, of course they are. Some of them won't. I think some will. I think Collier Noir is making strides towards trying to be more of a pro-Second Amendment person, actually allowing his real opinions to be seen more, not being saddled by his contract with Ackerman McQueen. I've had people sending me emails saying, hey, I think Collier Noir and even Dana Lash have been better Second Amendment people since they got fired from Ackerman McQueen. Well, first off, I say, I don't know if they have been fired. I don't know if their contracts are terminated or not. They've been kind of dodgy when they talk about it. So for all I know, they're on a disinformation campaign. But I'm going to hope the best, especially for Collier Noir, because like I say, I think he does care. Dana Lash, she is just a hired gun to the highest bidder. If someone wrote her a bigger check for the anti-gun movement tomorrow, she'd be over there spewing hatred and division, etc. So do I have high hopes for Dana Lash? No. But would I welcome her if she actually started showing that she was pro-Second Amendment? Of course. Anybody who becomes pro-Second Amendment, I welcome. If Hickok changed his ways, I would be glad. The people that are real patriots and are really wanting to fight for the Second Amendment, I hope they do well. But I am going to say one thing about all of them that makes me kind of iffy about every single one of them, and that is none of them seem to have resigned or quit until the payday stopped or until they got fired. It would have made a lot more... be more of a grand gesture if people like Lash and Collier Noir had quit Ackerman and McQueen or disputed their contracts before they stopped NRA TV. But, hindsight's 2020. We'll see what happens from here on. Now, there are some people that did quit the NRA before it became a big thing. As soon as people like Military Arms Channel's one, when he saw what was going on behind the scenes, he turned against them before public opinion did. Iraq veteran, 8888 did the same thing. Once he started realizing that his Second Amendment beliefs were actually being imperiled by the NRA, he backed away from the NRA. So of their own volition, not because, well, they stopped paying me, so I'm gone. They weren't being paid by the NRA like some people. Then you have people, like I said, like Hickok, who never fully disavowed the NRA and only did so to the degree he did once the checks stopped rolling in. Once they come under scrutiny for their spending and he stopped making as much money. So there's two different types of people there. And like I said, I would welcome anyone that becomes a true Second Amendment advocate. However, some of them that are just going to come over and pretend to be just to find a different source of revenue now that the NRA revenue has dried up, those people we could probably do without, because all they do is suck resources out of the community that could go towards the fight. Every time there's not enough money to file a lawsuit, but some talking head like Dana Lash buys a BMW because people think she's supporting the Second Amendment, that hurts the Second Amendment. So we don't need these profiteers. But like I say, any of them that want to show I'm pro 2A, I'm sorry for my involvement with the NRA. That's all someone's got to do is say they're sorry. Like, man, I look back and this was a mistake. I never should have done it. Maybe I got blinded by dollar signs. I mean, we're all human. We do things like that. I have to apologize for things all the freaking time. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. Depends on what it is. In fact, I got to make a video kind of with an apology here shortly. But like I said, long story, slightly less long now. Bad for the NRA. Like I said, either these people are leaving because they see no hope or their rats leaving a sinking ship. Either way, it's going down. As far as the Second Amendment fight goes, this is a horrible blow for the Second Amendment. But luckily, we've got other things like the Second Amendment Foundation, GOA, etc. We have other ways to fight through GoFundMe campaigns like the one used to fight 1639 here, where people are actually funding the legal fight against 1639 in the state of Washington. Things like that, because of the internet, people have a more direct way of getting involved in the fights. It's kind of like the NRA being just taking out the biggest middleman. Because the guys like GOA, Second Amendment Foundation, they are middlemen, but they don't take a big chunk of the profit. The NRA, the problem was we gave them money to fight the fight, but they took most of the money and did something else with it. And that's what profiteers do, so we don't need them. But, like I said, with things like GoFundMe, etc., the internet, we're kind of the new NRA ourselves because we're completely networked. But that's a completely different topic. So, bad for the NRA. Not great for the Second Amendment, but we will endure because we have resources and we have new avenues. And as far as the people themselves, like I said, I would have been more impressed if you quit before you were fired, or you quit before you stopped getting paid. But the fact that you quit is at least one positive step. What matters now is, will you show your true colors? Will you step up and be a true Second Amendment supporter, or will you just try to find another source of revenue? Well, that's a question only time and the people themselves can answer. But I can tell you, I think like most of you out there, I'll be watching to see what they do.